Welcome back to my channel. Today I have another video for you guys, and it's kind of just a recap of my first semester because I'm finally done. As y'all saw in the last video, I was taking my finals. I took it on Monday and it's now Thursday, but I'm getting ready to leave the island. But before I left, I wanted to make sure to just put a recap of the whole semester and just give a little bit of advice for anyone coming into their first semester of med school, or just that needs some more tips on how to navigate medical school, especially medical school on the Caribbean islands. So before I start, make sure you're subscribed, like the video, comment any questions you might have about my experience on the Caribbean, comment that below. So let's get started into the first thing. So my first tip would definitely be to stay on top of your assignments and your lectures. We don't really have assignments like that, but we do have lectures, like I mentioned in the last video, I think, multiple lectures a day. So it's a lot of material to keep up with, and it doesn't stop. So you gotta make sure that you're keeping up with it. For me, I kind of had a system of watching my lectures around 5, 6, 7 o'clock p.m. So that when I wake up in the morning, I have time to review it before I go to class at 1 o'clock. So depending on your schedule, that'll change obviously, but I definitely think just keeping a consistent schedule of what time of day you watch your lectures, or if you're in person, what time of day you go over your lectures, just keeping up with that and just making sure that you don't fall behind. And then another part of that would definitely be to find a resource that you like and stick with it. There's so many resources out here. There's Anki, Quizlet, Boards and Beyond, Osmosis. There's just a lot of resources out there, and they're all obviously good. For some reason, people like them. People are gonna try to say, use this, use that, use this. But if you find something that works for you, just stick with it. For me, Anki, I don't really like Anki, but I know a lot of people do. I tried it many times, but I just don't like it. So I'm not gonna waste my time making all these Ankis if I'm not gonna use it. So I like Quizlet, I really just like my own notes, and I also really like Osmosis videos. And our school has a subscription to them. So I really like, between Osmosis and my own notes, that's what I use. That's what works for me. So it might not work for you. Just find what works for you and stick with it, and you'll be successful that way. Another tip that I have is actually a tip that I got from one of my professors, and it's basically that step 1 preparation starts now. Step 1 is the first board type of exam that you take. You take it at the end of your second year, or near the end of your second year, and you take it before you go into your clinical years, which are the last 2 years. It's very important to, do well on that, because it can determine where you go for your clinicals and all of that. And you want to give yourself the best chance you have going into the next steps of your medical journey. And I know now the step is pass fail, but it's getting harder. So you definitely want to get your feet wet as early as possible with step-like questions. So for my school, a few professors within their lectures emphasize some things like, this is definitely going to be on step. Make sure you know this. This is the type of questions they'll ask about this subject on the step exam. So that was really helpful to me. But in addition to that, I think definitely not relying solely on your curriculum to teach you all the step material is important, because there's a lot of things on step, and I don't think there's any curriculum that could teach you every single thing, because that would, there's not enough time for that. Having other books or resources that are focused on preparing you for step is really important, and I think you should use it throughout your time in the science courses, which are the first 2 years. I've been using First Aid 2021. And that's a great resource, but it doesn't have everything. One professor suggested board review series, and I have looked into that, and that is a really good resource, especially the pathology one. It has everything. You might have to use a few resources just so that you don't get to your step exam and you're completely lost because you haven't reviewed these things in your curriculum or something. So definitely just getting your feet wet, not just trying to learn everything the first semester, obviously, but just of the subjects that you covered in your first semester, also go into those resources and see if there's any other missing details that you didn't learn, and just learning those. My next tip would definitely be to kind of wait to get too involved into clubs and other things, definitely I would suggest going to general body meetings for different organizations. Like I showed you in, I think 2 videos back, I went to the Stop the Bleed program, and that was put on by one of the organizations. Doing things like that is fine, but trying to, get involved in too many organizations at once will really leave you overwhelmed, because medical school is not like, it's not like undergrad. It's not even like a master's program. It's very content heavy, so you need your time to be able to study. So getting involved in too many things at once will overwhelm you with already an overwhelming curriculum. Choose 1 or 2 that you want to be involved in, and you can go to those events or get certifications or whatever the case may be. But definitely, I think the first semester, it's really important to find how you study, how you learn, and how you keep up with the pace of medical school, and really solidifying that before the next semester. Being that that's the focus, the other things are just extras if you have time. So speaking of time, my next tip would be to find something that you enjoy for your me time. As I said before, medical school is a lot. It's stressful at times, or it could get overwhelming when there's so many lectures and so many things to review, or you feel like you're not learning as fast as everybody else, because I had a lot of those times. And it was just really stressful and sometimes discouraging. So having other things that you enjoy doing definitely helps to ease your mind and just relax you, so that you're reset to continue and be more motivated when you get back to your studying. For me, I'm so happy that I started this channel while I was here, because it's definitely been a great outlet for me creatively, and just being able to document my experience, and through editing and all the different aspects of this channel has been that thing for me that is just relaxing. It gets away from the school, and I enjoy it, and this and Netflix. So, and talking to family and friends and all of that, but these 2 things specifically has been great for my me time, and really has allowed me to reset, be more energized and focused, because I have my me time, then I'm reset, and I can go do what I have to do with school. So definitely find your thing. If one thing doesn't work, try another thing. Just find it, and make sure you're keeping up with your mental, physical, spiritual health, because that's very important. And if any of those are bad, school will be 10 times worse. And speaking of that, for those of you who have faith, my faith is very, very important to me. So keeping up with reading my Bible, talking to God, watching sermons, even if it's just listening to gospel music that day, all of those things contribute a lot to just the health of me as a being. If that dwindled at any point, because at times it kind of did when things were getting stressful, or school, I was just overwhelmed with school, I would neglect that part of me, but I would always have to come back to it, because nothing else that I found around me, even in YouTube, even in Netflix, nothing else will satisfy me the way that having that close relationship with God would satisfy me. If you are of faith, please make sure to have that as a priority. Even if you don't get to all the things on the list that you want to do for that day, if it's just talking to God at night or in the morning, listening to music, watching a sermon while you're reviewing stuff, or whatever the case may be, just try your best to do something. It'll encourage your spirit, and it's a very discouraging world out there. So you need it. So that would be one of my biggest advice for you all. Last but definitely not least, remember the big picture and remember your goal. Like I said a million times, medical school is hard. There's a lot of things that will discourage you, whether it's students posting their grades of like, oh, I got a 99 on the exam and you got a 70 something, or you're reviewing stuff and you just don't understand things, or you're getting questions wrong. There's a lot of things that can discourage you and that will try to discourage you. But if you just remember, and this is what helped me, remembering where I want to go. I want to be a doctor. I want to be the kind of doctor that people will look forward to coming to, because they know I'm not just caring for their physical body. I care about their heart, what's on their mind. I care about them as a being. That's the kind of doctor I want to be. So if that's the kind of impact I want to have on somebody later in life, this is just the steps that I have to go through to get there. And remembering this is temporary. Of course, as doctors, you always kind of have to keep learning, but these are the real learning phases. Just remembering that there's a bigger picture to it all and appreciating just all of the steps to it, because now that I started this channel, I'll 5 years come back to today and remember my first semester and how hard it was, and just be so grateful for where I am at that present time. Just remembering that all of this is just contributing to the great doctor that you're going to be at the end of the day. It gets harder at times, but having that in mind, for me at least, it keeps me very encouraged and it keeps me going, honestly. I know, you know those football movies when it's like, it's the finals or championship, whatever it is, and they're all tired and they're beaten up, but they know where they want to go. They know they want to win this game or get that title, so they push themselves. They push themselves even harder. That's honestly what I think about a lot of times when I'm feeling so discouraged or unmotivated, like I don't want to do this today. Just thinking about, if I do this today, I don't have to worry about it tomorrow, you know, and I'm gonna be a great doctor in X amount of years and I won't have to worry about these trying times anymore. So just remember the big picture. Remember there are people rooting you on and you're gonna be great. So just keep that in mind and don't let those other people or other circumstances or situations discourage you from where you're going. So that's it for today. I hope something I said today encouraged you or helped you even going into the next semester or even in life, really. If you enjoyed this video, if you like the content, make sure you like it, share it with your friends, share it with somebody that you know is going into school or starting school again, or whatever the case may be. Share it, subscribe to the channel, comment, like, do all the things, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.